GM, welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, the show where we talk about crypto and introduce you to the pioneers and the founders of the Web3 space. Today, I'm very kindly joined by a previous guest, Harry from Flight Free. How are we doing?
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me back. It's amazing to see the progress. I love the new intro, and I love you building. You know, when we look back at the last, 2 years, it's really, a huge shout out to the crypto saving community and everything that you've been doing when morale has been down, hasn't it? We've been in a bit of a rut. ETH's been at $1,600, $1,700, 5-year-old prices, and that affects the whole ecosystem. But what I love about you and what I love about your community is you still shared up and you're still teaching and educating and growing. And really, I mean, as we dial in at, I don't know where Bitcoin is at the moment, but over 100K, it's an exciting time.
Still over 100K right now. I've got it on my screen here, and we will talk about Bitcoin today, guys. We will be talking about altcoins. Any suggestions, whack them into the chat, and hopefully we will be sharing some alpha with you as well. We're going to be talking about the news, and we're going to be doing a live trade as well. So make sure to stay tuned, guys. Hit that like button, press subscribe, do all of that jazz. But yeah, Harry, let's just break straight into it, man. I think you mentioned there the communities that keep building are the ones that are going to benefit when the time goes right. I think February till up until May was a bit of a difficult period. We noticed kind of sentiment was down, work drop off. How did that period look for you? And did you continue to grind throughout that period?
Yeah, if you look at one of the most exciting contracts I've worked on, it was helping build Super Team for Solana, and that we started that in 2022. Solana is $9, $10. FTX is happening. Everyone is like, oh, it's going to rug. And you know what? They doubled down on their builders. They doubled down on getting out micro grants. And if we look at where the Solana projects are now, as we talk in 2025, 3 years later, the global community that's building, for us, we obviously work in mindshare. We work on video content, creative, graphics, events. We can see that the buzz around those events wasn't the same. We can see the views are down. We can see the engagement is down because a lot of us true believers, like when it's really down, just don't want to look at it for a bit. Obviously not me. I'm so I work for a company that's called Zebu. Zebu means always bullish, zero bullshit. So we're always bullish, even in the down times. And actually, if you look at good projects with like long-term visions, that the Coinbase or a Ripple or a Solana, they've got a 5-10 year vision. They don't care if Bitcoin is 10K or 100K. Actually, to build something monumental and life-changing is going to take 10 years. So the bigger projects are fine, they storm on through. Smaller projects are obviously in the middle of fundraising, and fundraising gets impacted by market sentiment. We all feel like Warren Buffett when ETH's $4,300 and we bought $7. We're like, where's the next 100x? But of course,
bills on me.
but of course, when ETH comes back down to that sort of level, you're like, oh, I don't want to sell my ETH for this. Like, realize that loss, even though it's not a loss. So I think that affects the smaller to the mid-sized projects, but in those moments, it's really, really important because the best friends are made in bad times. I always get this challenge where people are texting me, oh my God, Solana's 285, isn't now the time to buy? I'm like, it's been $9 literally 18 months ago. I do think you should buy, but you've always got to be careful buying the local tops.
And I've got to say a big shout out to Super Team. And one of the reasons that I, came into the Solana ecosystem myself was during that period, no one else was building. No one was holding events. No one was actively spending to get people in through the door. I went to an event, a hacker house in Taiwan when Solana was around $15. That opened up my eyes. I thought, okay, if they're spending, they are building for the future. This is something I want to get behind. And now we're seeing other projects like Sui. They're doing lots of kind of hacker houses. I think they call them base camps. And a few other projects are trying to kind of replicate what Solana has done in the past 3 years. So it is important to keep grinding through those downtimes.
I'm so bullish on Sui. Raoul Paul told me about it about 2 years ago. Started doing a little bit of work with them, and I'm liking what I see. They're shippers, they're builders, they're Solana was probably one of the first sort of L1s that really thought of his builders as businesses and not just devs. We don't need any more bloody infrastructure that doesn't do anything. We need people to build. We need people to build companies that are going to create GDP, and they're going to create jobs, and they're going to create a ripple-on effect in the ecosystems. And Sui have definitely got that. Project I'm extremely bullish on, and if you don't know it, Alchemy. What they're doing is they're putting ads on chain. 70% of ads are wasted. If we think about it, every single internet business is basically an advertising business. Google, Facebook, it's ad tech.
That's where the money's at.
It was built 30 years ago and it's out of date. Putting that on chain and seeing where our ads are spent, making sure that they're actually going live. I'm a big marketer. I spend a lot on advertising. I want to know that my ad actually was shown on CoinMarketCap. It was actually shown there, and someone actually viewed it, not just loads of bots. So I think I'm very bullish on Alchemy. If you don't know them, check them out. And they do a lot of transactions on chain. So as we start to ship, and so the first part of my year, I traveled the world to try and get as much intel, see all the different events, and each event is different. If we look at like when we were in Denver, thanks for all your taxing me around. Love that. I had one of my funnest days.
It was good.
Papa Spud in his big whip. But that was very much a builder conference, very, very, very ETH heavy, lots of exciting stuff, the other ecosystems coming. When we were at Paris Blockchain Week, it was very institutional. It was very, there were over 150 mainstream banks who registered tickets for that event. Like, whoa, the information I'm getting from that is they are here. They're not quite sponsoring it and like saying like we're fully in, but they're like, what is happening here? We're interested. We're taking notes, and when we look at like the amazing thing about a startup and why Amazon have done so well is they build small crack teams that make things really fucking quick.
Yeah.
When you look at big, regulated, boring companies, it takes them 5 years to come up with a plan, and so it's going to be a slow-moving process. And if that process started probably in the last bull run, 2021 to 2023, they started. So by 5 years from 23 is 28. So by 28, 3 years time, they'd have gone through their due diligence process, etc. And I was asked on a podcast last week, like, why are regulators taking crypto seriously? And it's twofold answer. One, the old regulators have died and retired. The real no, but big businesses want to use crypto now. And if they don't let them use crypto, they're going to lose control. Like if a government sets silly rules, and everyone's like, "This is ridiculous,"
and they move on.
People just ignore them, and you've got a bit of a space race. But the second point is, we work very closely with Stand with Crypto and Coinbase in the UK, and they're hiring Goldman Sachs 20-year plus professionals, people that are passionate about the space like you and me, but have run a global business that's regulated at a serious level, doing billions of dollars in revenue, and know how to operate a real business. We can't forget like people like Barry Silbert, the first sort of grown-ups that made our space possible. Yeah. But there was very few young people that were coming together and building this. And as we start to have bigger companies with higher salaries, we're bringing in the best of the best talent, and you can feel it coming in. And that makes me so bullish on what we can create. Because what we want to create is not hot air, although we do like trading it.
It can be fun.
It can be fun, but eventually it's all net gain to zero. And when we start building real businesses, making people's lives better, that's when the whole space explodes.
Exactly. And talking about institutions and banks, we last caught up in Dubai for Token 2049. My take on it was that there was a lot of institution interest there. A lot of suits, as I called them, walking around the events. What was your take on that? Did you feel that vibe there as well?
Token won an event. Huge congrats to those events. As an event organizer myself, I think it was absolutely phenomenal what they managed to achieve, the amount of people they got to Dubai. I think they're lucky in that Dubai is hot, isn't it? The sheikhs, they get it. They want to move their money out of oil into, oil's going to die in 20, 30, 40 years.
There's only so much oil in the ground.
and we're going to move away from it because it's bad for the environment. But so they understand that they've got to take all the money that they've made and invest in future bets. So they've really moved quickly. Like in the UK last week, Rachel Reeves came out. She's like, I think there should be a crypto thing. I'm like, great. You said that 5 years ago. Where's the bloody results? You know, show me what you've done, and then you can start talking about it. So I think that's the first point. They're like Deribit, you know, 2.9 sold to Coinbase for $3 billion. They're based in the UK. No one knows they're based in the UK because they basically hide it. And they threw a mega party in Dubai because they've got a license there. And that shows what happens when that ecosystem can do. So yes, there was a lot of people in suits. And if we look at the mind share of Twitter and Google search, actually for where Bitcoin is in price, the search is very, very low. And what that's showing to me is that like Michael Saylor, the UEA government, various Japanese banks, these institutions are like, oh my God, they've had their like my 2013 moment, and they're like, and then unlike me who went in with $1,500, they're like, well, we've got 7 trillion AUM assets under management. Let's chuck in 400 million, and then they're watching it go up 100% in, you know, and they're like more. So I'm very excited for that because really, our industry is worth $3 trillion. It's a lot of money to like a person, but in global capital markets, it's small fry.
Yeah. And institutions right now, they own 9% of Bitcoin roughly. I actually predict that figure to be much higher than it actually is, because some of these institutions, they are moving in silence. So it's 9% currently, but I think the number is probably more towards the 15%, which could be of concern. But let's see how it goes. I know you're kind of more on the side of institutions. Regulation will kind of give us that stability and give us that power to push further. But Harry, a lot of my community know you for Zebu Live. A lot of them attend Zebu Live, you know, one of the best event in the UK of the year. But let's talk about Flight 3 a little bit as well and your role within Flight 3 there.
Yeah, so I'm the community manager of Zebu Live, and Zebu Live kind of formed out of lockdown. And it's kind of I get overly excited. So this year we're going to Tobacco Docks. We've got rooms grow to 22,500 people. So I'm very, very excited about the steps. We've got a new production company, we've got a new PR. There's so many bits that are coming together. So this is gonna be our best show yet. Can't wait. And as usual, crypto saving expert community, love to see you there. You always show up, engage with the talks, which is what's so important. Flight 3 is kind of like, I'm actually the CEO of Flight 3, and we are a leading blue chip Web3 marketing agency. So we help with, you know, 3 major things, which is growth, events, and design and branding, and making things look sick. What we're really excited about is like telling stories that, you know, I love, you know, when you're in a hotel and you get those little coffee pods, and you get each machine all around the world is the same but different. You can always just about figure out how to get it up, how to push it down, and get your Nespresso pod. If I'm on the phone with the bloody CEO of a protocol and I don't understand it, how the hell are we going to tell the world how to use it, how it works? So what we're really excited about, and you see it in exchanges, you know, we're working with MetaMask and MasterCard and Crypto Life at the moment to bring their card to life. This is the first time that there's a retail product that's using crypto, and there's loads of them. So this is a time when marketing really matters, because you've got to win mind share. Whereas before we had to educate. If you think about it, when I was working for an exchange, people didn't know what Bitcoin was. They didn't know what a wallet was. They didn't know why they needed it. So we had to do a lot of our marketing spend was like, this is what a wallet is. Bitcoin's like digital gold. This is what Ethereum is. And so we had to use our marketing spend to educate people. Now it's like, do you want, you know, Cast Card, great card. Do you want 12% cash back every time you spend? Do you want to spend your crypto? Do you want to spend it around the world? Oh, that sounds good. I'm saving for a wedding. Boom. I'm going to smash that. Weddings are expensive. Bloody hell. As an event organizer, I'm seeing those weddings, and there's no sponsors. Well,
no, maybe from the parents.
If you're lucky. But anyway, so you know, in that example, you're like, someone could be about to spend 20 grand on all the things that a wedding costs, and they're like, I could get 12% back. You know, that's 2.4K, boom, I'm going to use that. You know, I always think of the musicians in the world. They are like, you know, top 1% of musicians print money. The rest of them, it's a grind, putting on your shows. If the musicians can make money by using the Web3 ecosystem, which lots of people have started to try and do, Token Tracks, projects I've worked on, and a few others are doing, you know, splitting IP and all that stuff, but it hasn't quite made the money yet. So I think that's going to be the breakthrough moment when the tech just works for a normal person, that they don't need to understand what a TPS is, which node is doing what, etc., etc.
I agree. I think it needs to be more on the back end to make it seamless, to bring the adoption there as well. But let's pull through some of the comments, and then we're going to have a look at the market, guys. We're going to be doing a live trade. We've got Gannicus in the chat saying, GM, all good, legend. Good to see you here. First comment of the day. We've got former crypto millionaire. We're going to change that name to just crypto millionaire. Sack off the former. Future for now. We will change that if you keep tuning in. Join CSC Plus. We've got Sammy T here. Let's go. We've got Stuart as well in the chat saying Bevo and Chippy. We've got Hugo here. LFG. Good afternoon. Hugo was actually at Zebu Live. Came all the way from the Netherlands with his dad as well. So I hope to see you there this year, Hugo. Will be really good. We've got Stuart McFadden. Good to see you. Yo. We've got AGW Media here. Bullish. And JC saying big ups, and he's saying organic is better than ads. We got Hugo here saying I'm also a big alchemy believer. I know a lot of the community follow a lot of the calls from yourself, Harry, as well, from previous streams. We've got Web3 Tomo here saying GM Bevo Chads. Justin as well. Good to see you, Justin. Most of these people here have actually been to Zebu Live, so I'm looking forward to catching up with you all at the next Zebu Live. Have we got a date already? It's October, right?
21st, 22nd of October. Gives you some time. I mean, so I always think, you know, when we think of the Bitcoin halving, it's like running a bath, you know? When the halving happens, the first 3 months, nothing happens. And so, you know, last March when the halving happened, it was all hyped up. The price went really high, and then it sort of faded out, and everyone forgot about it. Supply side shock hits pretty damn soon, because we're gonna had a year and a bit, and I think this next 6 months, oh my god! Because if we look at, not to jump on, but if we look at what Trump has done, he has caused bedlam in the all global markets, combined with AI. Everyone's a bit anxious, you know. We've got Pakistan and India about to go to war, Ukraine, and you know, and so I think that's hidden the bullish news that's happening underneath where we are. And I think when we see this explode, it is going to be an exciting 6 months. And Zebu Live, I think, will be right at the heart of the bull run.
I like that October, November, December run. It's treated me well in years previous. I think as well we're going to see a nice run towards the end of the year and hit those all-time highs as well, guys. But you mentioned Trump there, so let's carry on into, you know, the talk about politics and Trump. I know you're very in tune with the UK politics, being UK based, UK company, UK event. You have to keep in tune with the UK. But with the politics over in America, do you think Trump has had a net positive impact on the crypto market?
It's a really weird one, isn't it? Because we almost beat the no men. We almost beat Gensler with pure logic and fight. And if you look at what Coinbase, Ripple beat the SEC, you know, that case was long before Brad Garlinghouse won that case, long before Gensler was gone. So I think we almost got through the logical people. Trump gave us optimism, but because he's so unpredictable. But with all politicians, you always have to look at, like, not what they say, what are they doing? And if we look at World Liberty Foundation, which is run by Trump's son, they are loading their bloody bags. They are loading their bags. He got rid of Gensler. Gensler was a fucking nightmare. And he's put in some sensible people that have at least used crypto. Because the thing about crypto, I don't know what's good or bad. I've been using it for 12 plus years. I have theories, and I'm like, oh, I like the sound of that. And then I'm like, that's definitely not going to work. But I still don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work, what's going to work, what's not going to work. And so having people that at least are sensible and understand it, they can help us make progressive policies and block idiot ideas rather than putting like what Europe have done. I mean, like trying to make it like a bank account when there's no account numbers on chain, and it's the travel rule. It's ridiculous. They haven't understood it, and they're just trying to bolt the old system in.
And we've got Pratik here asking, does Has have an X account to follow? And we've got Hugo, actually. Thank you, Hugo. Put it in the chat there. But let me just pull it up on screen as well, guys. So you can go over to Crypto Saving Expert and you can follow Harry Hortzell and Flight Free on there. I will mention it at the end of the stream as well. But let's head over to the current market. It's a red day right now. Not looking too bullish, but guys, don't be too disheartened, because if we go onto the week, it's a sea of green. So I think we'll talk about the rise, from some coins this week. I actually see eGold here, which is a blast from the past. This below $1 billion market cap is quite sad. It's not even in the top 100 at the moment. We have a lot of meme coins here. Obviously, there was Mudeng had a nice rise. We can see Peanut there. Is there anything that surprises you here, Has?
Yeah, I think there's some of the everyone's a bit like, if for those of us that are holding our NFT bags, we're like, we've almost written them off now. Are they ever coming back? And I think there was a bit of a mood saying, are meme coins coming back? And we've seen a really solid week for meme coins, OG meme coin communities rising again, which I think gives optimism. I still think we crossed the golden the golden cross of altcoins for the first time in 4 years. Last week. Once that last happened, everything went 125x. I do think the one thing that I don't know and people don't know is in 2021 you either bought BNB, Bitcoin, or ETH, and then there were small cap alts, but there was no real liquidity in them, and so they could rip with not much liquidity. I think what we're seeing this time is smart capital's just rotating from a different narrative to a different narrative, taking its profit, and we don't know if there's going to be enough liquidity for them all to blow. Everyone's moving in Sui. I'm so bullish on Sui, and then they're moving into the next thing rather than holding it and letting it rip. So I think a question for me is how does this new paradigm work when there is 50 L1s, 300 L2s, 30,000 apps all trying to compete with that market share?
And I know you've been a big supporter of ETH in the past. We've seen a nice rally back with ETH. Seems like momentum there is back, and it's kind of supporting the rest of the altcoin market. What's your take on Ethereum right now? Are you kind of hedging your bets and looking more to the likes of Sui, Solana, or are you still backing ETH and Vitalik?
I'm a big ETH fan. It's the OG thing. I think ETH, they're very academic. They lack some of the ability. Solana, obviously work with Solana, work with Sui. They're professional business people, and they're building a company. I think ETH is sometimes very theoretical and academic, and they're OG, and they're built. We didn't know what ZK was in 20. Or I'm sure people knew what zero knowledge proofs were, but we were still building ETH, and now they're having to bolt in roll-ups and ZK, and Fuel are doing some amazing stuff with their mad roll-ups. But we didn't know what zero knowledge proofs were. We didn't know how it was all going to integrate. So they are dealing with some backwards debt, unlike other projects which you can just thing. I think ETH's underrated. I still don't think. I think if you look at a crypto journey, people buy Bitcoin and they're like, wow, this is amazing, and then they're like, right, I've got that. Here's ETH. So I don't think we've seen that. But if you look behind the scenes, the amount of institutions that are filing for ETH staking to be allowed into their products, that is bullish. So I think ETH to $10,000 is probably one of the most obvious low risk. None of this is financial advice, but I think it's one of the most low risk moves for because we always have to look at the market cap, don't we, and what that would be. But I think in comparison to where ETH's gone and where Bitcoin has gone, there is a big catch up, and I think it will happen, and I'm still very, very bullish. If we look at the ETH ecosystem, there's a lot happening. The new upgrade apparently made things a lot better. I love being able to load wallets with gas. So so that your first transaction, you know, how annoying is it? You got airdrop $30, can't claim it, and can't send it off that wallet, a burner wallet, to a new wallet. You know, funding those wallets for those first transactions for the, you know, you have to remember we're still early. We're still so damn early. You know, we are a small percentage of the world that is using this, and we're still not good enough for the rest of the world to come on. So whoever gets that breakthrough moment, I'm bullish on.
Awesome. And let's just pull it over to Bitcoin here as well. We can see in the chart, I had that kind of 104,250 line dotted out on my chart here as, you know, some resistance. Are we going to come down to the 100K line, as we can see plotted out there, do you think? Or perhaps are we going to bounce where we are now? It looks like there perhaps is some support around this 101, 102 kind of level. How do you see it for the rest of the week, Harry?
I'm not the person to ask. Bitcoin's going to, you know, $250,000. So like every dollar you buy, every Satoshi you buy under $100,000 is like a free investment. You should keep loading up. But unfortunately, I'm too much of a long-term hodler to advise on you. What do you think? Where do you see it going?
Right now, Stonksy is still in a short position. We can see here. If I just move our faces to over here, you'll be able to see a little bit better. Stonksy's actually been killing it on the 1 hour. You can see at the bottom, green signal is a long. Caught this nicely at around just below 95K, all the way up to 104, and then went short pretty much where I had my support there as well, from 104 down to where we are. It's still in a short position. If it does change, I will be looking to flip this. But I haven't been trading Bitcoin recently. I've been having more fun trading some of the high cap memes and Solana as well. So let's go over to BLOFIN and let's put a trade on as well, and then we'll check on it at the end of the stream as well. Let me just pull us onto this layout. There we go. Actually, that layout's hiding it as well. I'll just pull us over onto this again. I think I'm tempted to go long here, Harry, on Solana. Shall we stay bullish and go for a quick long trade?
Yeah, go for it.
Not financial advisors, guys. Don't follow me. But if you do want to trade,
no crying in the casino.
No crying in the casino. But if you do want to sign up to BLOFIN, you got the link in the description. You get VIP tier 1, no KYC as well. Do not give these exchanges your information if there is no need to. So let's put a little 20x long on there. We will buy that on market. Let's lock that in, and we will check on that at the end of the show, guys. This account is up to about 4,500. We built this up from 1,000 over the streams, guys, so let's keep it going. But yeah, let's pull me down here, and we will check on that at the end of today's stream. Let's go over to our Twitter to go through some news there as well. Just pull this down. And guys, if you're wanting to follow Harry, you can head over to Crypto Saving Expert, or even the link for Flight Free is in the description below as well. So you'll be able to find us all there. We've got to talk about Coinbase going on the S&P 500. We've got eToro here pumped on its NASDAQ debut as well. Is this going to become more popular? Are we going to see more crypto and crypto related companies list on the S&P 500 and NASDAQ and all of these?
It's absolutely phenomenal. Like when I heard about the S&P 500 news, why that's important. So S&P 500 is an index of the 500 biggest companies, which I'm not an expert of America, but 4041 pension schemes are kind of like a good tax thing, kind of like an ISA in the UK. It means that regulated bodies can buy Coinbase stock, which is basically like buying Bitcoin and ETH, and put it in normal people's pension without them knowing, and it just opens up the whole world. And yeah, insanely bullish on that. Huge congratulations to Brian Armstrong and the whole Coinbase team that have worked diligently, relentlessly for 14 plus years to achieve that. And you know, they are $1 trillion company. Coin is an amazing. My brother's been buying it all the way through the dips. I think that's an unbelievable trade to whack in your ISA. And you know, they're going to get the market, aren't they? You know, they've got a retail exchange, but they are so much more. They're institutional. They've got their L2 base. You know, I think it's a phenomenal company, and I'm so proud to be an early user. working with them, and I'm bullish.
We can see here the Coinbase CFO even said, joining this prestigious index reflects how far Coinbase and the industry have come. It is like putting the flag on the moon for crypto companies. So super impressive there.
Yeah, and what it does is it opens up the conversation for other, the FTSE 100 are now looking at this and going, because it's a race, like, in the UK right now we're suffering. No IPOs are happening here because they're all going to the US because that's where the liquidity is. So now that they've done that, they're like, oh my God, we better open our doors. How do we make incentives? How do we bring people here? And that, when we get that competition, one of the things I love about London is if I come into your pub and it's shit, I'm going to go to the pub next door, or the pub opposite, or the pub round the corner. Sometimes, in South Africa, where a lot of my team are based, there's one energy provider and they stop energy half the week. We have something called load shedding. In the UK, we're like, damn you, British Gas, I'm going to Octopus, which I actually just did. RIP British Gas.
You got former crypto millionaire also saying 19th of May, Coinbase will be on the S&P 500, and I think it will be a sell the news event for base ecosystem coins. I've got to say, we have seen the base ecosystem pick up recently. We've seen meme coins on base like Brett also kind of pick up momentum again. I also kind of back this up. I think perhaps on the 19th of May for the week or two after, we may see some downside for the base ecosystem. However, I think that will continue again, though. I think it will be a slight, sell the news, but then it will pick back up as well. And I imagine Coinbase are supporting these projects as well, so they're probably getting behind, trying to add the momentum there. But let's head over to some further news from today as well. Let me just pull this up. We've got El Abaraj Restaurants Group has become Bahrain's first publicly listed company to adopt Bitcoin as a treasury. Russian central bank has recognized Bitcoin as the highest performing asset ever. So that's big news.
That's quite funny, isn't it? Remember, we shouldn't forget. What's the Goldman Sachs? Larry Fink tweeting, "This is the worst advice." Actually, mate, can we get an apology? Your advice was the worst advice ever. You told everyone not to buy the highest performing asset ever. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And the good thing I say is like a broken clock is right twice a day. But in this instance, we really were right. And we have no chip on our shoulder. We have no need to be like, we were right. It's like amazing. We've done that. Now how do we build the future here?
And right here as well, saying BlackRock acquires $57.6 million in Ethereum. So they're not only buying Bitcoin, they're also hedging their bets and buying ETH as well. Likely Solana, Sui, all of those type of assets as well. So keep an eye on that, guys. Also, Lyft teams up with BMaps, a Hive Mapper powered decentralized mapping system to enhance navigation and routing for its self-driving car. I'm not sure if you've heard of Hive Mapper before, Harry, but basically it's a camera that goes in your car, and then as you drive, it maps out a bit like Google Maps, a bit like Google Earth rather, how you can click on and see images of the road. This actually works by going in your car, you drive around and you get rewarded in crypto. So it's cool to see that really teaming up with some big names there. I know Lyft is a big one in the US. Very similar.
I love it. Uber. I love it because if you look back to the partnerships we were doing in 2018, 2019, 2020, it's like Polkadot is using Amazon partnership, and it's like they're using AWS. It's like these are really integrated partnerships, and it's just exciting to see. What we need is utility in these apps rather than just trading hype. So not that narrative is obviously very important, and people buy narrative. But look, I'm bullish. You're not bullish enough, Anon. We are still so early, so early. And the other day someone paid me stable coins from the wrong chain and they're stuck in the ether. And that's a top VC and a top Web3 marketing agency. That shows how early that we still are, but that can happen. And that UX, that UI needs to improve. You don't want to have a PhD to use this tech. And I think my final closing point is I think a lot about AI at the moment, and there's three ways it affects me massively. Like, how does it affect my day-to-day life of running a marketing agency? What roles does AI do versus what human teammates do? and how that changes everything. And that's really exciting. It gives us speed, it gives us agility, it gives us loads of knowledge. The second point is how it changes crypto. Suddenly, like if you know, one of our team members is a massive ETH maxi, he's doing all kinds of
name and shame him.
And Tom Phipps, follow him. He's got the real alpha, but I mean, he's wrapping his tokens on Curve and doing all sorts of cool DeFi stuff. It's damn complicated, it's time consuming, and it's a lot of steps. Suddenly, when you've got an AI agent doing that for you, they can do, you know, they can jump into your favorite meme, wrap it, yield it, put all the liquidity and get that sexy APY, which is not just inflation. And once that can do it all really quickly, that's exciting. And then, of course, your agents can't set up a Revolut or a Monzo because they don't have an address. So integrating crypto wallets is going to be a really interesting adoption. And that's going to be really, really exciting. And then the third thing is build a fucking moat. What moat can you build that AI can't do? You know, it's why we love events. Me and you being mates for, well, since I beat you up at school, like 14 years. Now look how big you are. I made you tough. No, but I'm saying it's like there's a whole moat and of building events, building like real taste. Like, you know, people are still going to come to a marketing agency. Yes, you can make your own things, but like, do you have the taste to do it? And I'm bullish, and a huge shout out to the crypto community, because I'm going to have to drop now.
No worries, Harry. Thank you so much for joining today. I will round this up. So if you want to leave, I'll go back to the trade and everything. I'll round this up. But pleasure having Harry on, guys. Go make sure to follow Flight Free on Twitter. The link is in the description. I will be having his brother on next week. Hopefully, I'm going to lock that in with Jolly. So Jolly and Harry are brothers. They came into the industry together. They obviously run Zebu Live as well. So like Harry mentioned there, Jolly's actually a real savvy trader. So it's going to be interesting to pick his brains. Come on. And yes, I went to school with Harry. So I went to school with Jolly, and Harry was a few years older. So he was like the older brother I never had. He'd get me in a headlock and put me in my place. So let's have a look. I'll have a look through the chat as well, guys. Make sure to slap a like on the video. We've got Pratik asking thoughts on launch coin meta. I just saw that absolutely popping actually in the side of my screen. I'll just share this tab again. We'll pull this up. Let me just pull this. There we go. So yeah, look, launch coin absolutely up. I don't know if the details are actually correct on this though. Let me check on CoinMarketCap before we go into it. If you've got any alpha on launch coin, put it in the chat. So Ben Pasternak has rebranded to Launchcoin on Believe. To me, it looks like the information could be getting pulled incorrectly. This tab. Oh, I've frozen. Are we still here? Seems a bit laggy right now. Let me just remove my screen perhaps. Okay. Yeah, it should be all good. Let's have a look at the live stream trade. Let's pull this up. If not, guys, I will end it here today because it's still lagging. It looks like it's catching up. I don't know why it's gone all crazy like that right now. Let me pull this up. Okay, guys, the StreamYard is moving really slow right now. I think you can hear me. Let me see if I can pull this up. Everyone hit the like button. Yes, JC, everyone hit the like button, please. That would be much appreciated. Here we go. Okay, this should be able to show now. Let me press present. I don't know why it's going all slow, guys, but if not, I will catch you on tomorrow. I have Jake from Magnet Growth. The trade at the moment is actually slightly in a loss. I will probably put a stop loss in slightly lower, but I will let it run for a little bit. But guys, I'm gonna have to end the stream because it's really lagging right now, but make sure to hit the like and subscribe. Catch me at 11 a.m. tomorrow UK time. I will have Jake from Magnet Growth on. Going to be a super interesting take as well. I hope you've enjoyed having Harry on. He's a brilliant guest. I love his energy. He's very long-term bullish as well. But guys, thank you all for joining. Have an amazing rest of your day. Let's go.